Hi there, my name's Fred and this is Nick from ESK Plants. Today we're going to talk about grafting. Now, grafting is a fairly ancient method and it's used to either improve yield in plants, to propagate plants that are difficult to take cuttings of, or to change the shape of plants. I've got here a Salix Caprea pendula, which is also known as Kilmarnock willow. Now, this plant normally grows as a ground cover, straight across the ground. But here, we've grafted it onto a stem to produce this beautiful little weeping tree. Now, to graft, we need a rootstock. So I have here, even though it has no roots on it, a stem of Salix smithiana. And here I've taken a piece of the Kilmarnock willow and we call this a scion. And what we're going to do is we are going to graft the scion on to the stem. Throughout all plants, just underneath the bark, is a layer of cells called cambium. And the cambium is an amazing set of cells, because if you push two cambiums together, they unite and heal together. All of you have seen where they cut branches off trees, the street trees, and it heals over with callus. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get the plant to callus like this one has here. And you can see how all the callus has formed. And 1 year ago, this plant in my left hand was exactly the same as this plant. And somebody has grafted it together, and you can see the plants heal together, and it's perfectly happy and growing as a lovely specimen. Right, now, here are some that we've done slightly shorter. And as you can see, these are exactly the same. No roots, just a stem, and we've grafted all of these and we've plunged them into a bucket of peat where they will make their roots, and then we will pop them in the spring. You may also notice that here we've covered the top of these plants, the scion and the union, with wax. Now we do that because if we didn't cover that up, then the plant would desiccate and die. It would lose water, desiccate and die. If you want to try this at home, you can use anything you like. Vaseline is a good alternative if you haven't got wax. Okay, I'm going to go round and attempt to do one of these grafts, because Nick's beavering away on his own there at the moment. Now, this graft that we're doing here is called a side veneer graft. It's a very good graft because it unites a lot of the cambium. It's extremely strong when it's healed together, and you can graft plants that are different sizes. So the first thing that I do is to cut the top of my rootstock off at 45 degrees. The second thing I do is to give myself a flat top to work on. The third thing I do is I make the veneer. And here I'm just literally lifting the bark, like so. And here I've exposed the cambium. Now I pick up my scion and I make the first of my cuts, which is the back cut. Again, that gets trimmed at 45 degrees, and then I make the church window cut on the front side. This then goes into the wound that I've created on the rootstock, and we tie it together. Now, This is just an elastic band, and basically it holds this plant very firmly and puts pressure so that the cambium will unite. This is the church window I was talking about. The callus will grow right the way over here and make this an extremely strong graft. So all we have to do now is to wax this to stop it desiccating, and I'll show you how we do that now. Here I have a bucket of hot wax, which is a paraffin based wax, and all we do, it's fairly simple, we just take our sign and we dip it into the wax, making sure that we cover the entire sign and that the drips stay on the end. We then just check the end to make sure that the sign is completely covered. And if any of it isn't, we can just move the wax with our fingers, because this has to be a completely impenetrable barrier. Otherwise the sign will lose all of its water to the air and die. Et voila! There is our graft. No roots, but we have a sign. Now we'll keep these in the glass house until they root in the spring, and then we will pot them up. And by June of this year, which is 6 months' time, this will be the same as the plant that I showed you earlier. Okay, thanks everyone for watching ESK Plants, and we'll see you again soon.